Have you ever noticed that the moment you really need to think clearly, your mind just stops working? You know what you want to say. You know you should be able to think, and yet nothing comes. It happens during exams, during important conversations. When someone asks you a simple question and suddenly your head feels empty. And the worst part is that afterward, everything comes back. You replay the moment in your head and think, why didn't I say that? Why couldn't I think of this earlier? It feels like your brain failed you at the exact moment you needed it most. But what actually happened is something very different. When your brain senses pressure, it doesn't treat it as a thinking problem. It treats it as a threat, not a physical one, but enough to trigger the same internal response. In that moment, your brain quietly shifts priorities. Clear thinking is no longer the goal. Survival is. The part of your brain responsible for reasoning, planning, and clear thought is also the most sensitive to stress. So when pressure rises, that system doesn't get stronger. It gets quieter. Your brain isn't trying to help you perform. It's trying to reduce risk. This is why the harder you try to think, the worse it often gets. Trying harder adds pressure. Pressure tells your brain that something important and potentially dangerous is happening. And your brain responds by pulling resources away from thinking and toward instinct. That blank feeling isn't a lack of intelligence. It's a safety response, a very old one. This is also why it usually happens in moments that feel important. Talking to someone you care about, being evaluated, being watched, being judged. Your brain doesn't measure importance logically, it measures it emotionally. And emotional importance feels a lot like danger. What's interesting is that once the moment passes, your thinking comes back almost immediately. You didn't suddenly become smarter. The threat just disappeared, and your brain switched back. That's why clarity often arrives too late. In the shower, on the way home, lying in bed, replaying the conversation in your head. The pressure is gone, so your brain finally lets you think. Understanding this changes how you see those moments. Your brain didn't betray you. It didn't freeze randomly. It did exactly what it evolved to do, just not in a way that feels helpful in modern life. The problem isn't that you can't think clearly. It's that your brain thinks clarity is optional when safety feels uncertain. Once you see it that way, those moments stop feeling like personal failure. They're not proof that something is wrong with you. They're proof that your brain is trying a little too hard to protect you.